Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Process of Elimination. I'm really excited to get back into this game. Last time, we did the investigation, and I have absolutely no answers to any questions. Who did it? I don't know. How did they do it? I don't know. How do we navigate the investigation screen? I also don't know. I had to go back and do it twice because the first time I screwed up so badly. But I think I kind of understand it now, and I hope that as it goes on, it'll be a bit easier. But anyway, I have no idea how it's going to play out from here, but let's find out. I don't know what happens when we figure out who did it. I also don't know how to figure out who did it because I genuinely have no idea. I have no idea. I left the investigation with more questions than answers, so let's see. Also, I apologize if my voice isn't the best. I am sick still because every time I start to get better, I get infected with something even worse. So, if I don't sound the best, I apologize. Anyway, let's get started. I'm excited. Wonderful. You gave such clear instruction. I truly am grateful to have you with me. I told the others to meet by the fireplace. We should hurry there ourselves. How many times do you think they're going to mention the color of her eyes? Because in the last part, we only just met her in the last part, but already they mentioned it at least 5 times. It's time for all of us to get to the bottom of this intricate, baffling case. Yeah, it's baffling for me because I'm a dum-dum, but like, she's the number one, right? She's like, she already knows the answer. We're supposed to figure it out, but I don't know how we're supposed to figure it out from that investigation. It makes no sense to me. But, I don't know. Excuse me, Ideal? I call out to stop Ideal Detective as we make our way back. Please, tell me, what's the real reason you brought me to this island? I can't help but ask. I need to know the rest of what she was going to say earlier. After all, why would someone as bumbling as myself be invited to stand amongst a talented crowd of detectives like this? I've been asking myself that question since the first episode, because he really does live up to his name as incompetent. And for the chief of the DA to place so much trust in me, it's nothing short of bizarre. I understand my limitations better than anyone. My talents are undeserving of your good graces. But the real kicker is why. What? Oh, here we go, starting early with me not being able to read. Okay. But the real kicker is the way you clearly know me. Just what is it you want from me? What's a nobody like me even doing on this island? My shouts echo down the hall as every pent-up question I have comes bursting out at once. I just can't understand why this world-famous detective would act so cryptic towards me. Sorry. I've been a bit mean-spirited, haven't I? Ideal gives a wry smirk, then scratches her cheek. My inner devil wanted to see that bewildered look of yours, and it got the better of me. I'd been planning to keep quiet until you noticed. This is our first meeting in 10 years, after all. Surely you can understand how I'd want to surprise you a bit. Watto. So is she the girl? Like, we've seen some flashbacks from his life before, and we saw the girl, and her hair reminded me of this girl, just like a different color, but the same style. Is she that girl? Like, did he actually watch that girl die? Or, I don't remember. I don't think he actually, like, saw her die. Our first meeting in 10 years? Wait, did you just call me Watto? Could it really be? My heart catches in my throat. Only one person, someone I met 10 years ago, called me by that name. What do you mean? Isn't your name that's your first name, isn't it? Nobody else calls you by that name? No one. Okay. Whatever you say. But there's just no way. I've dreamt of this reunion for ages. Inviting you here wasn't completely outrageous now that you've been scouted to the DA. My real name is Saika Sharonford Holmes. 10 years ago, you saved my life. So she is her. She is the girl. Also, interesting name. Okay. Yeah, it's her. They have the same bangs. It's impossible. My voice comes out in a shout before I curb it. I breathe heavily, but the shock won't subside. Ideal detective is Saika? That can't be. I saw her covered in blood right before me. There's no way Saika is alive. Avenging her had been my motivation all this time, but now... Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, sorry. Calm yourself. Ideal comes close and softly cups my cheek. I'm startled by the sudden intimacy, but her arm around my waist keeps me in place. No, push her away. You don't know this person. If I were him and someone I thought was dead was suddenly here in front of me and they were like touching me, I'd be like, don't touch me. Get away from me. You seem to have lost your memories of our time in that prison. It must have left quite the emotional scar. No need to force yourself. It'll only cause your heart grief. Remember little by little about how you rescued me that day. Why does he not have his memories? Like, something seems fishy. I don't know if I trust her. Like, I do think that she's the girl, but I don't know if I completely trust that she's a good person. I don't know. I got my eye on you. Did I really? Yes. What I said to the others wasn't a lie. You truly did save me. You're the reason I'm alive today. But our enemy is far more cold and calculating than anticipated. I've no hope of preventing the DA's eradication alone. I need your help, Watto. I don't know, something's weird. Like, how did she know that he went to become a detective? I mean, we know the whole reason he wants to be a detective was because of her. Because he thought that he couldn't save her, but like, why in his memories did she die? I don't know. I don't trust that look on her face. I summoned you here because I'm in desperate need of your abilities. Literally, what abilities? I'm sorry. I really hope that he grows as a detective and as a person throughout this game, but currently he has 0 abilities. Let's be honest here. He's the worst detective ever. For now, please, just believe me. I mean, they do have the same hair. That's why I thought she was her the whole time too, just because they have a similar hairstyle, which seems a bit weird because most people don't have the same hairstyle they did when they were younger, but she does. Also, why did it turn white? Something's weird. I don't know. Ideal gazes at me with sadness that reminds me of the Psycha I once knew. That vulnerable, girlish expression taking the place of her usual sagacity. I have never seen that word in my life. I have lived many years on this earth and I've never seen that word. What? Okay, I'm gonna read it again. That vulnerable, girlish expression taking the place of her usual sagacity was nearly identical. But I can't help but wonder if this is truly the same person. I don't know. Like, maybe it is her, but like, her brain's different. I don't know. Something's weird. I don't trust her. It is it really you? Saika? You finally used my name. I couldn't be happier. A relieved smile spreads across Ideal Detective's face. It doesn't seem like an act. She's sincerely happy to be reunited with me. Remember, we detectives only share our true names with those we completely trust. Okay, well, I already broke that rule because I don't trust you at all. I trust you the least out of everybody here. No matter who doubts or suspects you, be it the others or even yourself, I will always be on your side. Maybe it's just the way I'm reading her words, but she's kind of creepy. So stay by mine and observe my work. I'm certain you'll recall the truth if you do. Ideal steps back from me, her expression already reverting to its usual dignified air. Between her countenance as chief of the DA and as a vulnerable girl, I'm not sure which is real. There's so much cause for suspicion. And yet, I still don't know the truth. But I'll choose to believe in your words. Which is to say, I want to believe in them. I've played the past out in my mind countless times, wishing I could have saved you, Saika. See, look at that look on her face. I don't trust it. I think she's sneaky. I wasn't able to do so back then, so I truly want to believe what she's saying, that Saika's alive. Even if those sweet words are mere deceit. But still, I don't buy it 100%. Like you said, I'll stick with you and try to figure things out. Such as whether or not you're telling the truth. Okay, wow. This is the smartest thing he's done this entire game. This is the one time he's made a decision that I agree with. Don't trust her. That's all I wish for, Watto. Observe my every move with your utmost attention. If I have one request, however, it's that you stop calling me Ideal. It's far too formal for my liking. When it's only the two of us, would you mind calling me Saika? Like back in the old days? Wait just a second. I didn't mean I actually believe you're Saika yet. Oh, stubborn as ever, aren't you? And always over the silliest things. Very well. Address me as Holmes, then. The other detectives know me by this name, so that shouldn't be a problem. So the other detectives knowing her by that name makes me think that it's not actually her name. I mean, I feel like that's obvious. The surname is a bit... doesn't seem like it would be her name. But it seems like it is an alias. Got it. Holmes. This is our first step toward friendship, Watto. No, it's not. I don't know. I'm very suspicious of her. Very, very suspicious. Holmes's face beams with genuine elation. The fact that it's moving me so easily is proof enough that I'm a rookie detective. Come on, Watahojo. Hojo. Get it together. Wow, he's actually trying to step up. Wow. The D-pad pings with a notification. The others must have gathered in the living room by now. Are we going to find out who did this? Because if I have to answer any kind of question, solve any kind of riddle about this case, I won't be able to because, like Watto, I am incompetent. And also, I have no idea. I have no answers. Hopefully, when they start talking, it'll clear it up. Now, shall we close the book on this case? I follow Holmes as she heads to the living room. I have no clue what she could want from me, but I've decided to trust her for now. If I stay by her side, the truth behind why I was brought here may finally come to light. All 13 detectives, including Holmes and myself, gather around the room. Holmes adds a few logs to the crackling fire before turning to address us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank each of you for doing your part. Due to your efforts, we have uncovered the method used to dismember Senior Detective. Now, it's simply a matter of laying it out. Did we discover it? Did we? Because I don't know. Then please tell us, Holmes. Who is the culprit? She's gonna be like, you have to decide for yourself. Oh, how like a commoner to heedlessly jump the gun. Before revealing the culprit, is there not a matter we must clarify first? What matter would that be? Why, the method by which Senior Detective was slain, of course. I agree. Instead of focusing on who did it, let's consider who could have done it and eliminate some of the obstacles in our way. Okay, so this is like the trial. How do you suppose Senior Detective was killed, Posh? Good, she didn't ask me. To put simply, with an artifice working in concert with the chandelier trap. What? Does anyone understand what she just said? I mean, could we ask someone who speaks a little bit easier to understand? Maybe I'm just dumb. In concert with the chandelier trap? You mean I set it into motion when I opened the door? Oh yeah, that happened. Right. It's been a couple weeks since I played the first part. My bad. The chandelier had crashed down the moment I stepped through the entrance of the manor. After that, I was out cold until the DA arrived. The culprit utilized the trap? But for what purpose? Have you ever played with clay, incompetent? I can't believe they call him incompetent. It's hilarious. Say you wanted to cut it in half as cleanly as possible. How would you do it? Even a knife would give you some trouble, no? Back in school, I remember we learned to wrap a nylon string around the clay and pull it to split it apart. Oh yeah, okay, so I remember this. The culprit used those wires to dismember him. I remember that. We learned that much. That's it. Good. Now for the next question. Following the principle for cutting clay, what would happen if you wrapped a sharp wire around a person and then tightened it? You mean... Yeah. Senior Detective's mutilated body flashes across my mind, and my skin prickles. That wire was definitely sharp enough. If you were to wrap it around someone and yank it, they would be sliced apart almost effortlessly. Just like clay. But you have to be pretty strong, right? Like, you have to have pretty good upper body strength to be able to do that. I feel like someone who has the upper body strength of a goldfish wouldn't be able to do that. Like, I don't know. I feel like that eliminates a few suspects, to be honest. Then again, like, the suspects are literally everybody here is a suspect. And I'm pretty sure Watto is one of the people who has the upper body strength of a goldfish. So I think that could eliminate him. You get the idea, I presume. If one wanted to cut something with a wire, their best option would be to wind it around and pull. Clay's one thing, but could you really pull hard enough to, like, slice a guy up? Because, FYI, that stuff does not look easy to handle. Thank you. I think she's my favorite, honestly. Downtown. A salient question, Downtown. Indeed, the crux of this trick is how the wire was tightened. They use something other than their own strength? Is it possible? Oh, wait. Could it be the chandelier? They use the chandelier somehow? So, what method could have been used to pull the wire once it was wrapped around Senior Detective? Any ideas, Posh? The culprit may have had a dash of cleverness up their sleeve, but my upper-class intellect saw right through it. Put simply, the culprit used the falling chandelier to pull the wire taut. Okay, that's what I said as well. How would they do that? Chandelier's up in the entrance hall, but the crime took place in the basement, right? Oh, dear me. Very well. I shall elucidate the matter so elegantly that even a commoner would understand. The wire was attached to the chandelier, so they would move in tandem. When the latter fell, the former would wind up automatically. So, wait, so the chandelier was originally in that main hall when you walk into the door. So the wire was attached to the chandelier and it went through the floorboards and was attached on the other side to Senior Detective. And when Watto walked in, the chandelier fell, and that's what made the wires go taut and slice him up. But, like, why? Why would someone kill him? I also don't know that. Why choose to do that? Excuse you? This explanation is mine to give. Posh Detective cuts Holmes off with a huff, then continues where she left off. After sedating Senior Detective, the culprit affixed the wire to the chandelier, which had been lowered to the floor. Oh, the chandelier went up? I thought the chandelier went down. Listen. That makes more sense. I was wondering, like, when the chandelier went down, how would that make the wire tighten? That makes more sense. And the wire is pretty much invisible. So, you wouldn't be able to see it. But then again, someone who walked into the hall, wouldn't they get cut by the wire? Because the wire would still be there, wouldn't it? On the chandelier, hanging there, connecting the chandelier and the detective. Wouldn't somebody get cut by it if they tried to walk under the chandelier? I don't know.
After sedating Senior Detective, the culprit affixed the wire to the chandelier, which had been lowered to the floor. Then, they threaded the wire through the gaps in the entrance hall floor, allowing them to connect it with the basement.
Would a wire really fit through the floorboards, though? Yes. Oh my god, there's gaps. Even... Come on. This is why you're called incompetent.
Certainly. If the cracks are large enough for sound to travel between the two spaces, a thin wire should pose no issue. Once the wire fed down to the basement, was wound around Senior Detective, the chandelier was raised back into position. When the chandelier came plummeting down later on, it pulled the wire taut and dismembered the victim in one fell swoop.
But then what happened to the wire? Wouldn't it still be hanging right there? You see like where it's hanging? It would still be there. Explain to me.
And voila! The culprit managed to kill Senior Detective without dirtying their hands and successfully obscured the time of death.
A superb deduction, but I would like some conclusive evidence. Hold on, I'm sorry, I need water desperately. Sorry, my throat went dry so suddenly right there and I couldn't read anymore. Okay. Watto, do you remember the trace this gimmick left behind? The trace it left behind. Now that she mentions it, something suspicious did catch my attention during the investigation. Did it? Okay, so, we can get her trust level up. I want to look at the evidence. Okay. The overly clean cut, blood-stained ceiling. It could be this. This could be it. At the scene of Senior's murder, there was blood on both the floor and the ceiling. The fireplace. Okay. Glove. Scratched chandelier. It could be this. This was... What are we doing again? Can I look at the backlog? How do I look at the log? How do I look at the log again? Sorry. How do I look at the log? Backlog X. Okay, sorry. I forgot what we're talking about. Trace this gimmick left behind. Okay, so they're talking about a trace that was left behind. It could be the scratched chandelier. It could be the ceiling. It could be the carpet also, actually. It could be the carpet. The wall switch. The switch on the wall, the scratches on the chandelier, armor detector. I'm gonna guess scratches on the chandelier. Okay. The scratches on the chandelier. Those must have been left by the wire when it scraped against the metal. Excellent. That's precisely right, Watto. This girl! She just called him by his name. In front of everybody. Hello? Excuse me? Why would you do that? Now everybody knows his name. And like, no way she's like gonna be like, oh, silly me, hoo-hoo, I'm so absent-minded. Like if she does that, that's such an act. She's not absent-minded at all. She's planning, she's plotting, she's sneaky. I don't trust her. But now everyone knows his name. The chandelier is quite durable, so if anything were to cause a scratch, it would have to be extraordinarily sharp.
Like a wire saw, capable of cutting through even steel, perhaps.
What voice did I do for him again? I don't remember. There are so many of them. I can't remember a lot of the voices. He reminds me of Shobai. Maybe I should do a similar voice to Shobai, but I don't really remember what I did for him either. I think it was just a lowered voice of my own voice. I'm gonna try that. Okay. Then it's just like you said. The wire saw and the chandelier trap were paired up for this little stunt.
So, how's it feel, incompetent?
How does what feel?
Slow on the uptake, aren't we? What I mean is, how does it feel to know that Senior Detective was killed by the chandelier trap?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. My throat is... Oh my god, look at his face.
He wouldn't have gotten hacked into pieces if you never opened that door, you know.
He's nuts. I like him.
Shock lances through my spine, and I begin to break out in a cold sweat.
So, it was all because of me. If I hadn't triggered the trap, then Senior Detective would still be alive. Yeah, but you weren't... Were you the last to show up? I don't think you were the last one to show up, because all these people, this guy included, came in after. Somebody else would have triggered it. Like, calm down. Even now, I can feel the doorknob in my hand. To think that at that moment, a man was being sliced apart right below my feet. The trap that I triggered.
How does your first kill feel? Like sinking into the mud of a swamp, huh? Oh, don't worry. You'll get used to it.
I like him. I'm sorry, like, he's absolutely nuts. I love these crazy characters. I love them.
Stand down, renegade detective. Keep your lips shut until I say otherwise. Don't glower at me like that. It makes me tingle all over.
Stop. That reminds me. It reminds me. Remember when in Danganronpa another when was it Akane? I think Akane slapped Kinjo and he liked it. That's what this reminds me of. Like, he got slapped and he was like, "Ooh." Another. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is your second and final warning. Shut your mouth.
And if I were him, I'd just tell her to go scratch. No, I wouldn't. I'm a big chicken and I hate confrontation. I just sit in the corner with my mouth shut, nodding and smiling to what anyone says to me because I don't like confrontation. Cowed by Holmes, renegade detective seems to cut his losses, backing down. Also, is Watto not going to mention that she literally said his name in front of everybody in this room? Holmes then turns to me, all signs of anger wiped clean from her face. See, I don't trust that smile on her face. It's not a trustworthy smile.
I know you're shaken, incompetent, but you need to set that grief aside for now. And the rest of you, save your blame and suspicions. Any of us could have triggered the trap at the door. It was unavoidable. As a matter of fact, Incompetent actually did something remarkable. His actions forced the culprit to make a fatal error. I did something remarkable? I also find that hard to believe because he's very much incompetent. What could she mean by that?
As much as I want to demand the answer, I wait to hear the rest of her deduction. Yo, Posh. The crook used the fallen chandelier to cinch the wire, right?
Did I not say as much? The wire worked in concert with the chandelier.
Yeah, okay. But wouldn't that just move Senior up and down the chandelier? Like, that wouldn't really be enough to kill him, right?
What?
I see what you're saying, Rowdy. For the wire to dismember Senior Detective, a strong upward force would be required. And you're suggesting that using the downward momentum of the chandelier wouldn't have accomplished that, correct? Yeah. Downward momentum? Not sure I follow you there, but yeah, something like that. You're right. This is a sticking point. Whatever to do. Could you provide us with a rejoiner, Posh?
Right, well, you see, the thing is,
Throw her lifeline, incompetent. Do you recall who was initially investigating with Posh? Yeah, it was the girl. I don't know how to describe her other than the girl with the giant boobs. I'm sorry. I don't remember her name because they don't have names. Usually I could get pretty good with the names of the characters, at least like at this point in the game. Like I've been playing this game for, I don't know, over 4.5 hours now. I feel like I would kind of get their names at this point, but because they don't have actual names and they're just called things, I don't remember her name. All I know is she, you know, she's one of those. There was only one detective who was initially investigating with Posh at the start, and that was... it's not Doleful and it's not Techie, so she has to be the Gourmet. Gourmet, am I right to assume you figured out how the chandelier's downward momentum was used to kill Senior Detective? Ay. Okay. What was her voice again? I don't remember. I'm sorry, my throat is not okay. Okay.
oh my. You looked like you were just about to get to the tasty part, so I didn't want to interrupt, but if you insist. The culprit used a pulley system to connect the wire, and your Senior along with it, to the chandelier. Piece of cake. Of course, they used a pulley system. It was so obvious, I suppose it just slipped my mind. Oh!
A pulley system? Like what you'd use in a well? How would that help in this situation? I can't deal with him. He's really just incompetent.
It's not as tricky as it seems. Here, I'll break it down for you with a diagram. No matter how many times the chandelier has been dropped, it can always be raised back up to the ceiling using the wall switch. That mechanism can bear considerable weight, so much so that it was able to lift a voluptuous vixen like myself with ease.
Oh my god. She calls herself a voluptuous vixen? Okay. Sure.
Hoisting dear Senior Detective would have been even easier considering how much lighter he is.
You're saying you rode the chandelier up to the ceiling?
Oh yes, it was quite the wild ride. Plus, I discovered a juicy clue when I reached the top. It was a hook. The one the wire was probably hung on. It's designed for mountaineering, so it'd be sturdy enough to withstand the tension. With the wire draped over the hook, then tied to the chandelier, you could adjust the slack in the wire with a sharp jerk. Dear Senior would have been bound to the ceiling, unable to do a thing. What a horrible trick.
Oh, that's ideal. Okay. The traces of necrosis on Senior Detective's limbs indicate that he was pinned up there for quite some time. I shudder to think of it.
With this pulley system in place, all that would remain is to descend the chandelier with a rope and wait for someone to open the door.
But how would you gather up the rope you used to climb down the chandelier?
Oh, you precious dimwit, you. There are so many ways one could collect it after the fact.
For example, if you used a bowline or slip knot, you could undo it upon reaching the ground with a simple tug. I'll show you sometime. I'm at a loss for how to respond when presented with these not options as if they were obvious possibilities. Aside from armor, no one seems fazed, as if it was just common detective knowledge. I really am terrifyingly out of my depth here. Yeah, you think? There you have it. The culprit finished their preparations long before we even arrived on the island, and put the manor behind them. And then I opened the door, triggering the trap, yanking the wire up with the pulley system and slicing Senior Detective. Oh, so that's how the wire didn't cut any of them? I don't know. It makes no sense to me still. To think that someone could orchestrate such a kill while their victim remained down in the basement. I just can't fathom it. I feel a shiver run down my spine at the hidden culprit's ingenuity, as well as their barbarity. What a craven deed! Using another's hand instead of dirtying one's own to commit so heinous an act. It is beyond forgiveness. So the torn piece of carpet I found in the entrance hall was cut by the wire as it shot up from the basement, right?
Correct. I analyzed the fragment and can attest with a 100% certainty that it was severed by the wire. When the wire was pulled up through the gap, it shifted and sliced the carpet in one spot. Therefore, the culprit never did a trial run. Oh, how sloppy they must be to leave so many clues. They never stood a chance at besting me, heir to the illustrious Pinkerton name. But the question still remains. Who is responsible for this? Is it not clearly this commoner who opened the door? He was disreputable from the start. No. Once the trick was set up, the culprit would merely have to wait for someone to inevitably open the door. In other words, it could have been anyone. Triggering the trap may make incompetent the prime suspect, but he's still one of our own. Now hold on here, workaholic. What could you possibly mean by that? We spent hours traveling here from the mainland today. In what universe could any of us have been responsible for this crime? Your suggestion is deplorable, even for a commoner. I'm so sorry. I'm coughing. Can't help it. I try to hold it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you can hear it. Those peeps and snarks were killed like over a day ago, right? Doesn't that mean one of us could have done it back then? The killer could have wiped out everyone on the island, set up the trap, and then bounce to meet with us and put on the innocent act.
Yeah, I think the culprit is one of them. It has to be, right? It can't just be some like random person. It has to be one of them. If the culprit's really the quartering duke, they could totally pull that off. That piece of trash is literally the worst. He's like the reason we even have to be here in the first place. Ugh, the nerve. How dare they turn us on one another?
Hey, now, let's back up a bit here. There's something that makes this even worse, you know?
Renegade detective cuts in gleefully. Even worse? How do you mean?
Isn't it obvious? Things would be fine if we could still track down the culprit. But worst case scenario, they've already escaped from the island.
The atmosphere tenses in an instant. As much as we hoped to believe otherwise, it was a possibility we couldn't ignore.
If we're assuming this is the work of the quartering duke, isn't it only rational to conclude that he's booked it by now?
He successfully destroyed HQ after all, even left us with the parting gift of Senior Detective's murder. Why stay after that?
If it were me, I'd hightail it the second I was able, never to return. That way, I wouldn't even be suspected. Unless I had the strong motive to do otherwise, that is.
No one can argue with Renegade's words. I suppose it takes a homicidal maniac to give us some perspective on another. I mean, then again, maybe this person is the type who wants to see everything unfold. But then again, they were very hands-off in the way that they murdered Senior Detective. So, I don't know. I think that it's one of the people who's here. So I do think that they stayed to watch it unfold. But then, why not be there to actually kill? Unless the thrill is in, watching everyone scramble like chickens without heads. Just like he said, it'd be counterintuitive for the culprit to remain or even return to the island at this point. Then the case is...
Yep. If anyone's to blame, then we may as well be Then we may as well be wild mass guessing. That's an impasse if I ever saw one.
I examine everyone's faces again. Their eyes are filled with suspicion and hostility that wasn't there before. I believed I could trust them just moments ago, but now a dark shadow hangs above us. If the culprit already fled, we'll never track down Senior Detective's killer. But if they're still here, they could very well be among us. Either way, it's a bitter pill to swallow. It's no surprise the team's morale has taken a hit.
Stiff upper lip, ladies and gentlemen. This investigation hasn't ended yet.
Holmes's voice dispels the gloom.
It's true, regardless of our actions, the reality of the situation is a tragic one. However, it's a detective's duty to attend to the aftermath of any tragedy. If we hesitate, who else will take the mantle?
Huh? Holmes sends a wink my way before making her announcement.
As mentioned previously, the culprit made one fatal error, which I shall now share with you all. After all, reversing tragedies is precisely what we must do, ladies and gentlemen.
The group falls silent, listening intently to what Ideal has to say. For this particular trick, anyone could have performed the killing act, so long as the proper preparations were made. It's possible the perpetrator has already fled, though if they are still present, they could very well be part of the DA. How does Holmes intend to turn such a desperate situation around? I believe someone has yet to share their theory. Incompetent, you know to whom I refer, yes? The investigator who hasn't spoken yet is... Rowdy spoke. Armor, he's kind of useless too. Bookworm? Bookworm, you were looking at the fireplace when you noticed something, right? What was it that you saw? So you were spying on me then? Get lost and die, Humbert, said the girl to the perverted youth, her detest for him clear on her face. What? No, that's not... That's enough, Bookie. Apologies, incompetent. I'm afraid her social graces are a bit lacking. Oh, don't worry about it. I give a strained laugh as I attempt to recover from the mental blow I was just dealt. Weren't you chomping at the bit to tell everyone about the fireplace? Come out and say it. I intend to, whether or not I was asked, puffed the girl matter-of-factly before beginning her explanation. When we first entered, the fire was lit. Something felt off about this, so I spent my time pondering the matter, the girl began. Something was off? What matter are you talking about? This style of hearth isn't commonplace in this country, so it's no surprise that you would be unaware that these fires don't burn for long. Unless wood is added regularly, they will not last more than 6 hours. Even 5 would be an exceptional amount of time. Huh. So it really needs to be tended to. But isn't it possible someone started a fire because they were feeling cold? I know it's March, but this island gets pretty chilly. No proper detective would use a fireplace at a crime scene, you sexual deviant, said the girl, chiding with the would-be offender. Oh, right. It's as Bookie says. I doubt there is a soul among us who would use the fireplace in this situation. So then that means the fireplace was burned at most 6 hours ago. Like, so the person who did this, it was not done yesterday. Because what was burned in the fire was that glove, right? So that's even more evidence that the killer, the culprit, is one of these detectives. But why? Why? Who knows? The only individual who would is the culprit. They had the incentive to ignite these flames, and it happened within the last several hours. You both noticed something vital. The very act of lighting the fire was quite a blunder on the perpetrator's behalf. It appears they were unaware of how long the fire would burn, but that is precisely why they lit it. There was no other choice. They had to light the fire? They had to burn evidence, incompetence. Let's go. Come on. Indeed. To dispose of the gloves necessary to manipulate the wire saw. Saying this, Holmes fishes a single black glove from her pocket and waves it at us. As you all know, said wire saw is so fine that it requires specifically made gloves to handle.
gloves which the culprit possessed. Were these gloves to be found on any of our persons, the owner would be quite suspect. Ergo, their only recourse was to burn them. With that, Holmes flings the glove into the fireplace. It disappears into the flames, hissing all the while. It may have been made of sturdy material, but it clearly wasn't fireproof. I managed to find the burn remains of a glove in the fireplace, the girl reported to the chief.
So the glove didn't burn entirely, despite the heat. Perhaps forming a pact with the Ifrits would have better served them.
Not sure what that means, so we'll just ignore that, the girl said dismissively.
Brilliant discovery, Bookworm. From this, we can deduce that the culprit lit this fire in an attempt to dispose of the gloves. Now, what further conclusions can we draw? I'm sure you could tell us, Mystic. Naturally. Had the culprit escaped the manor, they could have discarded the gloves any number of ways, not least of which being the ocean. The fact that they attempted to do so within the manor suggests that a getaway was not in the cards.
Yes, precisely so, Mystic.
The sole path from the Gormenghast to Snarks is a straight shot. Apart from that, there is only a cliff no person could easily descend. Most importantly, during the several hours after our arrival, we never failed to keep watch. Not one soul fled from the building. Yeah, so they're still here. They're in this room with us right now.
Put in another way. Whoever lit the fire is still inside the manor as we speak, said the girl, following the chief's logic.
They're still inside the manor? Come on, Watto, you're really slow on the uptake here. It's one of these people. The detectives eye each other suspiciously. But of course, why wouldn't they? If the culprit is still inside the manor, that means they're hiding within our group.
Remain calm, ladies and gentlemen. While it is dispiriting to have the culprit among us, there is one fact more critical than any other. The fact that the Quartering Duke is, without a question, inside this very manor.
Ooh, so the Quartering Duke is one of them as well. That's interesting. I can tell you who it definitely isn't. It's definitely not Renegade, because that would be like way too obvious. There's no way that the most, quote, suspicious of all of these people is actually the one. No, Renegade is totally innocent, and I'm going to stand by that. But how can you be so sure?
It's all thanks to your turning up here, incompetent.
Me? What do you mean?
Holmes chuckles lightly before continuing. The Quartering Duke, you see, did not account for your presence. Two fatal errors suggest this is the case. Firstly, a trace of the crime still remained. Had it all gone accordingly, I suspect the original plan would leave no such evidence. Then, as Renegade pointed out, we would have assumed the Duke already escaped, throwing our investigation into disarray. I see. If the Quartering Duke's goal wasn't to put us off his scent, there wouldn't have been any need to engineer such a complex murder. For all intents and purposes, this should have been an unsolvable case. However, Incompetent triggered the trap earlier than anticipated. What's more, he passed out in the entryway. The culprit was likely panicking inside the manor, With all the windows fitted, the front door was the only means of escape. But with this boy unconscious by the door, the chance of him waking and catching them as they fled was too great a risk. With no knowledge of his background or ability, it would be unwise to try and kill him. As the others were en route, the culprit opted to hide. Flustered, they saw their chance and used the fireplace to dispose of the evidence. Well, my deduction is quite sound, yes? No one contradicts Holmes's statements. She's right. If there was any irregularity in the culprit's plan, it would be me. I may lack experience, and I failed to save Senior. It's thanks to me that a major flaw was introduced to the murderer's plan. It's a bit ironic, really. What can I say? I never considered the possibility. You have some nerve saying that after all your misleading comments. I wager you had this figured out, but decided to stir the pot anyway.
Oh yeah, this guy seems like the type to know exactly what would happen, but to kind of lead them astray, so it could be a little bit more entertaining for him. Like, he really reminds me of Shobai in that manner.
Now wait just a moment. How can you be so certain the quartering duke is the culprit?
Yeah, I mean, even if the quartering duke is here, he's that person seems like the big villain in this whole thing, right? So would the quartering duke be the first culprit? What happens when the culprit is discovered? Are they executed? Monokuma style? Like, I don't know what happens.
The duke's murders are characterized by two simultaneous victims. Even with the deceased staff here, this case is entirely different. Therein lies their second mistake, Posh.
Posh falls silent. Holmes turns her gaze to me, then smiles coldly before getting into the heart of the matter. In the original plan, the individual who opened the door was intended to spring the trap and die alongside Senior Detective. That is to say, failing to produce a second victim was the quartering duke's greatest mistake. That's interesting. But are we going to figure out, like, solve who the quartering duke is in chapter 1? Are we sure? Like, I thought he was like, I say he, but it could be she too. So they are like the victim, not the victim, what? The villain, like the main villain of this game, right? That was what we saw in the introduction in the first part. Would it be that we discover them so fast?
Beg pardon?
Oh. Now I remember. When the trap sprung, I felt a pain in my head that led me to avoid the trap. All means, I should have died right then. In other words, I narrowly avoided a tragic fate as the quartering duke's latest victim. Hold on. Aren't we a bit quick to assume this was the duke's doing? Just because there could have been two victims? It may just be another copycat, you feel me? Stop asking questions you know the answer to, renegade detective. A fellow serial killer such as yourself ought to understand, This was not simply to sow the seeds of discord. It was a declaration of war. Killing Senior in such a risky way is proof of that. Reveal the truth, or you will all be dismembered. That is what he means to tell us. Things are getting interesting. I, for one, am ready to have a ball, my dear Holmes. With Renegade Detective satisfied, Holmes claps once, turning the attention back to her. Very good. Now, to briefly summarize. The Quartering Duke came to the island a few days prior to our arrival, murdering all personnel present. He affixed Senior Detective to the chandelier, ensuring he would be killed when it descended. Following that, the Duke left the manor. Later, while we were at the research facility, they sent a message to me using Senior's voice, luring a portion of our group back to the manor. In doing so, whoever opened the door to the manor would die at the same moment as Senior Detective, producing 2 victims, the Duke's modus operandi. This was also meant to conceal the Duke's presence and facilitate his escape amidst the chaos. Or so went the plan, at least. But it was that exact moment when things went awry, when an unforeseen individual triggered the trap earlier than expected. This deviation prevented the culprit from fleeing. In their panic, they disposed of the evidence in the fireplace, but it didn't burn completely. So concludes my synopsis. Now we must ask, where is the Quartering Duke? Surely, as the irregularity, you can tell us, incompetent. He's still inside the manor. Yeah. The Quartering Duke is inside the manor. Precisely. The Quartering Duke himself stands among our ranks. He's in this room right now, or she. I mean, you don't know if it's a man or a woman. We must take advantage of this opportunity Incompetent has granted us. Having suffered blow after blow, it is now our turn to act. The game is afoot. Let us bring an end to this tragedy drenched in deceit. Okay. We have a case overview. Victim, Senior Detective. Culprit unknown, cause of death dismembered by wire saw. Sequence, the culprit kills Senior Detective from afar by using the chandelier and trap and wire saw. Notes, this gimmick was set up in advance, making it hard to pin down the culprit. They remain unidentified, but must be inside the manor. There's no way we're ending it here. We're gonna find out who it was, right? Right? I got 100% though. I feel kind of proud of myself though. It was kind of easy. Sure thing, girl. But like, can we like put a pause on the whole investigation thing? Given the situation, downtown's casual demeanor feels monumentally out of place. That's suspicious. We've pretty much solved the mystery. All we gotta do now is like catch the bad guy, right? And why don't we take a break and chill for a bit? What? Why are you suggesting we take a break at the most crucial moment, right before we find out who did it? That's suspicious. Please don't let it be you, downtown. I actually like you. No lie, I'm mad hungry right now. Besides, it's not like talking in circles is gonna go anywhere if we're all running on empty. Hear, hear, Lady Downtown. Pray, let us heed her wisdom. The culprit was unable to make their escape, correct? In which case, we ought to regain our strength and prepare for battles to come. A valid point. Factoring in travel time, we've been going at it non-stop for about a day and a half so far. Holmes chuckles ruefully at Downtown and Armor's comments, but speaks with a clear, firm voice. Seriously, why would you stop right now? You're about to find out. Come on.
Let us take turns standing watch at the door. In the meantime, as downtown suggested, the rest of us can relax and enjoy a meal.
What? Are you kidding me? I want to know the answer. Like, what?
With Holmes's words, the group lets out a collective sigh of relief. No one has to say it.
We're all clearly exhausted.
The detectives chatter away as we head toward the dining room. The atmosphere has finally become calm and relaxed.
What was that? What was that? What?
Despite that, the tightness in my chest won't disappear. I groan quietly as I feel another migraine coming on. It's just like when the chandelier fell, as if I'm not myself.
What's going on with him?
Suspicious. Hey, you good, dude? Does your head feel okay? I've got some painkillers if you need them.
You mustn't overexert yourself. Hold tight, for I shall be your steed in the dining hall.
It's fine. I really don't need to be carried. After some time, the pain recedes, but I can't understand it. Why is my body such a wreck right now? Hey, downtown, could I get one of those painkillers later? Just in case.
Sure, no prob.
Just don't forget, you owe me one now. I do?
Now, come on. Let's hit the dining hall. Don't want anyone getting all sus about us hanging back too long, you know.
Downtown doesn't wait for me to respond, instead pulling my hand and leading me into the dining hall.
Day 1, evening. Oh, interesting. So there's like, I don't know. Sorry, the music was very reminiscent of Danganronpa. Okay.
Why are we not solving this? Can you explain it to me? The dining room is buzzing with chatter. Some ingredients were left in the refrigerator, so Gourmet Detective cooked us a meal. My voice is getting worse as I go on. I'm so sorry. I could feel it. I've had to drink so much water just to be able to talk. Like, it's so annoying. I keep getting sick. It won't stop. It's annoying at this point. Like, just stop getting sick. I get better and then I get sick again immediately. Workaholic, Renegade, and Doleful agree to keep watch while the rest of us gather around the lengthy dining room table. All right, everyone. Soup's on. I already tasted the ingredients for poison, so kick back, relax, and enjoy the meal.
So does she like cook? Is that why she's gourmet? But she dresses like she's, I don't know, a motorcyclist? And that's me being generous.
The poison? But that could have killed you. It would have been much easier and safer to use my forensic friend, Quickie Licky. Quickie Licky.
No worries, little man. Oh man, I can't do her voice. But honestly, her voice is probably just my current voice right now. Because that's how I sound right now.
Bit of the stuff ain't enough to bring down the gourmet anyway. It's like this, see? She could guzzle down any old poison if it were a sody pop.
Yeah, it's making me cough even more. Okay.
Oh, Rowdy. When you put it like that, I practically sound like a monster. I've sampled all sorts of toxins since I was a kid, so I guess I built up a tolerance. Cyanide has too much of a kick, though, even for me. So, you really have a super palate. How alarmingly... What? How alarmingly impressive.
Oh my gosh, this spaghetti is the bomb. You're like just as good as cooking as you are at eating, gourmet.
Indeed, the sauce is excellent, rich yet refreshing, with a complex taste that lingers on the mouth.
They're all just like eating, knowing that they're eating with a murderer at the table with them right now. What's happening? Why are we not solving this case?
Just what is this sauce precisely? Downtown, figure it out, won't you?
Who, me? How should I know?
Can we at least give the mystery solving shtick a rest while we're eating? But life is full of mysteries, is it not? As detectives, it's our job, our legacy even, to find them out.
Eureka! This bittersweet flavor. It is surely lemon, is it not?
Not quite. I can't see lemons having any place in this sauce.
What? Rubbish! Lemons are exceptionally juicy.
So, who the heck wants a juicy sauce? Wait, how are you even gonna eat in all that metal?
Seriously, isn't he gonna take it off? Can we see what he looks like? Through the slits of my helm, of course. Behold! Ew. You are so nasty, like, for real. I think it's hilarious that Downtown thinks, like, she can't stand armor at all. But, like, they just keep ending up being together. I think it's hilarious. Is it a ship? Do I ship it? Probably. I ship everything and everybody. Do not slip your carrots into my soup, Bookie. Without them, you will be doomed to never grow any taller.
Carrots smell of dirt. They're disgusting, and I hate them. And although vitamins do impact your health, they won't affect the body's growth. Therefore, not eating them will only impede my height. Your logic is flawed, said the girl, swiftly destroying his flimsy argument.
Enough dawdling. Eat your dinner. Poor May took the time to boil the carrots, making them both tender and easy to eat.
Listen to Mystic Nowberg, Bookworm. A detective cannot afford to be picky. My, how nostalgic. As a girl, I simply loathed bean sprouts. Refused to even take a single bite. In fact, but now, they're my absolute favorite. Bean sprouts? That sounds like a rather humble meal for a member of the distinguished Pinkerton family, said the girl, eyes growing wide. Well,
her family has fallen on hard times of late and now does security work to make a living. Even so, you're looking at the woman who received their...
We haven't the time for your hearsay. The Pinkertons are now, as ever, the very finest of detectives. Rest assured, I shall reveal the true nature of the Quartering Duke and unveil the truth. You'll all see soon enough.
I'm unable to mask the surprise on my face as I listen to the others chat in harmony. Even after seeing something so horrible, they're still able to have a normal meal. It goes to show how amazing they are. I, on the other hand, haven't been able to take a single bite of the food on my plate. For me is a savory soup full of hearty veggies, toasted baguette slices, and fluffy eggs scrambled together with smoked meat. That sounds delicious, actually. I could use some soup, clearly. You could tell from my voice, I could use some soup. All the food looks as delicious as it is inviting, yet I can't will the hand holding my spoon to budge even an inch. Ugh. No matter how hard I try, I can't keep the grisly sight from earlier out of my head. Everyone else saw the same thing as me, but I'm the only one paralyzed by it. How pathetic can I be? I mean, I'm a member of the Alliance myself. I need to strengthen my mental fortitude so murder scenes won't bother me this much. You look rather tense. Are you quite all right? Holmes is seated next to me, her voice a low whisper, such that only I can hear it. Sorry, just had something on my mind. Don't worry about me. You're a poor liar. That murder scene robbed you of your appetite, didn't it? Huh? I gawk at how easily she sees through me. It is plain as day from the look on your face. Not to mention, this is something everyone who fancies themselves a detective has gone through. Ah, right. I'll try to get used to it as quickly as I can. Now, no need for that. Homicides aren't something you should get accustomed to. Huh? What do you mean? I blurt out the question before I can stop myself. Precisely what I said. It's not uncommon for detectives to encounter a tragedy. But even so, we mustn't consider it a mere fact of life. Observe. Though the others seem cheerful, you'll catch a strained look on their faces from time to time. Such cheer is intentionally projected so as to cope with the tragedy we failed to prevent. They're doing it on purpose? Oh. Looking again at the group, I can see hints of tension during the lulls in the conversation. I see. So it's not that everyone just instantly moved on from Senior Detective's murder. Rather, they're steeling themselves, shrouding their weakness as they continue to untangle this mystery. Anyone who considers death and violence a daily reality has no business calling themselves a detective. Those who are brave, who abhor tragedies and work tirelessly to reverse the damage they cause, those are the true detectives. So too must you steel yourself, Walto. Watto. I called him Walto, like his name is Walter or something. Be a true detective, one who will never give in, no matter what may befall you. Yeah. My head is still frozen in place, gripping my spoon. But no matter how long it takes, I'll finish this meal in front of me. Not only that, I'll become a real detective, just like Holmes said. Everyone, come quick. Workaholic's voice echoes through the room. I turn to see his flustered face at the doorway. There's a bright light by the heliport, next to the research facility. The culprit could be attempting to escape by air. What? Huh? What's happening? The group rushes outside the manor. Take a look over yonder. Just what could be making that glow? I'm sensing serious danger. Whatever it is, I don't think we should get close to it. Renegade points off into the distance, where something is definitely shining. The paved area over there is a heliport, which means that light could belong to a helicopter. Though I didn't see anything there when I checked before. I'm seeing something.
It's big and oval and standing on the heliport. It's painted black, so I can't make it out too good. My gut said it's real bad news. Probably a trap set by the op? Which we need to make certain. If it truly is a helicopter, our inaction will allow the perpetrator to flee. No, wait just a moment. We passed by the heliport earlier, and there wasn't a single thing to be found. How could there suddenly be an entire aircraft? That's impossible.
Unless it came from... not from here, from somewhere else. Hello?
I've heard there's a hangar located beneath the heliport. They could have lured us to the manor in order to slip away. Which means we need to get moving at once.
See, look at her face. I don't trust her. She could be the quartering duke for all we know. I don't trust her. Without delay, Ideal begins doling out orders to each detective. Workaholic, Posh, Downtown, Techie, Mystic, and Bookworm. All of you will stay here. Once we make our move, the enemy may target the manor. Be on your guard. Very well. We'll handle things here. Be careful, Chief. The base will not be breached on our watch. This I vow. Very good. I'm counting on you all, my fellow detectives. Armor, Rowdy, Gourmet, and Renegade. I want you to accompany me to the heliport. Doleful, get to high ground and keep watch. If anything seems amiss, contact me via D-pad immediately. I'd like to come too. Doleful interrupts Holmes, his voice wavering. Oh? What's with all that trembling and shaking? Just look at the state you're in. You're sensing something quite horrific, aren't you? Are you certain you'll be all right? Oh, sorry, no, that's not Doleful. I thought that was Doleful. Sorry. Are you certain you'll be all right? Just keeping watch with Rowdy would be doing plenty. I'm definitely afraid, but my ability only works if I myself am in danger. That's why I want to stay close, not keep my distance. That's the whole reason I'm here. Well said, little man. Don't sweat it. I've got your back, see? I may not look it, but I am 17, you know. So yeah, a little man. He's a child. Then again, when I was 17, I didn't think 17 was a child. Now that I am quite a bit older than that, I do think 17 is a child. You're older than me. My bad. Didn't mean to patronize, just slug me, make it even. As for you, incompetent, what will you do? Why does everyone else get an order, but I get to choose? What we discover may be even more disturbing than what we've encountered before. Will you remain at the manor, or come with us? I have no choice. It makes it seem like I'm gonna I was gonna go with her anyway, but it makes you seem like you would have the choice, but there is no choice. We have to go with her. I'll come with you, Holmes. I'm a member of the DA myself, after all. Right. I'm glad to hear it. Why did she hesitate there? Why are there ellipses right before she says right? I don't trust her. She's fishy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Onward toward the light. Let us see precisely what trap the enemy has laid for us. I feel an odd sense of calm on the mountain path, despite the underlying tension. It's likely because I'm surrounded by so many talented detectives. As long as we're in this together, there's nothing we can't handle. I'm certain of it. And most importantly, Holmes is by my side. Stop relying on her. Stop trusting her. I don't trust her. Something about her is not right. I have no idea what it is. But there's really something that's not right with her. She is without a doubt the finest detective around. Her abilities are, well, ideal as the chief of this skilled bunch. What's wrong with me just then? I don't know what just happened. We've only spent a few hours together up until now, and yet getting to experience the talents of the DA's members has been enough to eclipse even the Duke's overwhelming tyranny. Honestly speaking, no matter how fearsome this Duke is, I can't imagine these detectives could ever be defeated. Even with the uncertainty of whatever trap our investigation may uncover, I rest assured that everything will be fine. Well, Rowdy, we've descended quite a ways. Are you able to identify the source of that light yet? Nope, sorry. I can make out the outline, but, no clue what it actually is. It don't seem like no helicopter I've ever seen, though. More like a giant metal drum with a huge shiny eye on it. A giant drum? It's getting increasingly difficult to determine what that object may be. Helicopter or not, we should have been able to identify it by now. Naturally, our pace begins to quicken. Careful, Ideal. Whatever it is, it smells terrible. This scheme is making me tingle. The perp's got a real knack for this. Stay back, Sir Dolful. No matter what befalls us, I shall protect you all. Okay. As we talk, the light draws closer. Until... What is that? Look. That sound. Crap, it started moving. Moving? What is that? As Rowdy shouts, the light, which had been glowing in front of us, begins to approach. At that moment, Doleful's face goes white, and he lets out a cry beside me. Everyone, we need to run. My senses, they're telling me that certain death is coming. Back to the manor, ladies and gentlemen. Make haste. At Holmes's command, we turn our backs to the light and begin to run. In the distance, I hear an ominous mechanical sound. The noise grows louder and louder until it's bearing down upon us. When I look back, a horrific figure is practically on top of the group. Everyone! I shall rendezvous with you at the manor. Armor! I hear Armor heading toward the sound. Then... What is the... Armor's screams echo from behind. What could have happened? We need to help him. But is there really anything I could do? What in the world is going on back there? Yeah, what's happening? Even if I won't make a difference, it's still better than not even trying. With my mind made up, I do an about face. The first thing I notice is Holmes, who must have just turned around herself. Then, right in my line of sight, I spot it. A colossal, ominous black shadow.
Just as Rowdy had said, it resembles a giant metal drum. Its figure, several meters tall, looms above us. It looks down, then rushes forward while emitting a shrill mechanical noise. What is this? Wait, that's... The trauma I suffered years ago resurfaces in my mind. This was the very same thing that attacked us back then. But why is it at DA headquarters? So, that's how it is. The comment slips from Holmes's mouth, as if the presence of this thing confirmed her suspicions. She braces herself and lifts her fist before issuing her command. Don't turn back. I will buy us some time, so you go on ahead. But... I said, go. You're no match for it, even as a group. Damn moron. If anyone should be on the rear... What? The rear guard, it's me. Ideal is far stronger than you, Rowdy. I know it's difficult, but we should trust her with this one. This is all my fault. All because of me. Someone else is going to... Save those tears for later. We need to figure out some way to deal with this. Despite our conflicted feelings, the group begins to run. What should I do? Can I really leave Holmes behind? Don't tell me I failed to protect you a second time? Don't make me repeat myself. Holmes glances my way. Her profile beams with a deep, genuine happiness. You've saved me once already. Now it's my turn to do the same for you. Okay. What? How does she know how to deal with this thing? See, she's suspicious. Also, what is this thing? I don't know what I was expecting, but an indiscernible blob was not it. I steel myself and turn back to Holmes. Then I take off in a sprint with every ounce of strength in my body, as if I'm running from the very reality unfolding behind me. I hear a grating, clangorous sound, as if something metallic were being struck. The overbearing noise that had been pursuing us now recedes into the distance. It must be Holmes's doing. She's the chief of the DA for a reason. Surely she could hold her own against that monstrous thing. Maybe, just maybe, my concern is misplaced. It'll be fine. If anyone can handle this and make it back safely, it's Holmes. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Thank you, Watto. As if sensing Holmes's gratitude, I find myself turning around to face her. Huh? What? What? Huh? I kind of had an inkling she was sacrificing herself, but also, like, what is this thing? What is this machine? What is the purpose of it? Is she dead now? What? Behind me, I see a fountain of bright crimson spray into the moonlight. It catches the light briefly before showering down on the ground below. A beautiful white figure is suspended amid the scarlet. Her presence, which felt so imposing only a moment ago, seems insignificant now. Her limbs, once graceful, now hang like a marionette with its strings cut. The sight seems so unreal I doubt my own eyes. However,
The sounds of rending flesh and spraying blood snap me back to reality. The blades of that pitch black monster pierce through her slender body, arcing upward into the sky with strings of red. Oh my god, she's actually dying. The merciless act is repeated once, twice, 3 times in a vivid, unadulterated display of violence. Saika's body, which had barely remained standing, begins to sink limply toward the ground. I try to yell, but no words come out. My throat quakes, unable to muster the sounds. As her body slumps to the earth, my voice finally rings out. Saika! Whoa. Whoa, that was crazy. What? I mean, I knew we were gonna take over. What? Oh my god. This is good. This game is good. Like, some things I'm a bit like, it's good. But she just died. Like, what? Serial killer versus 14? Did I say 14? Incompetent. That's me. So, we are going to take over what she was doing. That's why she was kind of showing us. Like, did she know she was going to die? I wonder if she knew. I like the song. I'm really excited to really get into the meat of this game now. Ooh, are we gonna fight with Renegade? That would be amazing. Process of elimination. I'm really excited. So, like, that's the intro of the game, which is crazy because I've been playing for how long? Almost 6 hours now. This part is almost 2 hours. I'm gonna play, I think, for another 20 minutes or so. I really want. Now that it's getting good now, and I want to keep playing, but my voice can't handle it. At least not tonight. I'm hoping in like a few days, or maybe like a week, I'll be better. I really hope so, because I want to get into the meat of the game, but whoa, that was craziness. Saika! As I attempt to run toward her. Incompetent! You have to stay back! A hand reaches out and stops me from behind. I turn and meet Doleful's stern expression. He immediately starts to run, forcibly pulling me along. We can't waste what precious time our chief has brought us. You have to make it out of this alive. Doleful. Tears still linger in Doleful's eyes. He must be grieving too. But despite that, He squashed down all his feelings to soldier onward. Sorry. Let's keep moving. I release his hand and run on my own. No, why are you running on your own? Run and hold hands. Sorry. He's right. Our mourning can wait. Right now, we need to survive this. Man, if he was feeling guilty about her death before, I'm sure he feels even more so now. Renegade, I sense a threat. It's coming from the cliff you're touching right now. Copy that. Impeccable timing, Dolly. As Doleful calls out, Renegade kicks the rocky face of the cliff beside him. Not one moment later, I hear a loud rumbling from above us. All I ever do is attract danger. Stick around and see for yourself. What is this thing? Rocks rain down, pummeling the black machine with an impact no human could survive. Once again, I'm shown how terrifying Doleful's power can be. However, it's speaking. The automaton immediately bursts free from the rubble, letting out some kind of metallic war cry as it resumes motion. That didn't work. Not even a scratch. It's tougher than your average tank. Ooh, just the thought makes me tingle all over. Save your tingling for later. Oh my God. Stop. I'm sorry, I know this is like a serious moment and I'm just sitting here laughing. We managed to stall it for a bit, so let's get going. Charge! A bellowing voice erupts from behind. I failed to notice that Armor had caught up to us until I see him clinging tightly to the black machine. They grapple like wrestlers. Armor must have seen Holmes's body, yet he still charged in without hesitation. What incredible resolve. But his strength is outclassed, if only just, and his massive frame is slowly being pushed back. My good compatriots, it matters not what becomes of me. You must press on post-haste. What? No! You're coming with us too, Armor. Nay. Were I to let loose this metal beast, it would surely annihilate you all. Though I may have failed to protect our dual detective, I can still save the rest of... Armor... Please. Armor Detective is prepared to give his life. It's no different from when Holmes gave hers. All I can do is watch helplessly. We have to escape. We need to escape. Hey, Armor. Jump on the count of 3. Jump? Gourmet is suddenly standing next to me, and in front of her... Get a taste of the Japanese fighting spirit! Rowdy wields a massive log that I can only assume she picked up somewhere. Oh, you're so dashing, Rowdy. Remind me to give you a kiss later. Huh? Excuse me? Excuse me, but Rowdy's a child? And you, Gourmet, most certainly are not. I mean, look at her. She is not a child, and that one is. Please don't give her a kiss. Hands to yourself! Rowdy hurls the log toward the black machine. 1, 2, 3. 3! The log rolls beneath Armor as he leaps and smashes directly into the machine. The log seems to have lodged itself between its legs, compromising its balance completely. It feels like we finally made a dent in its armor, so to speak. Oh, that's right. You mentioned having plasma knuckles back in the basement. They must be incredibly powerful, right? Verily, my good sir, the time has come to unleash the energy stored within this right hand of mine. I hear a... Oh, he's not speaking. I hear a loud crackling as Armor swings his right arm at the tottering black mass. Taste steel, friend. Fiend. Whoops, definitely not friend. Thine end is nigh. Plasma knuckles! With a thunderous crack, my vision is overwhelmed by a blinding flash of light. When my eyes adjust, I see the machine has been pushed back considerably. That must have been Armor's doing. His fearsome blow was aided by an electric current, a rather powerful one, evidently. It's saying something. But the metal thing doesn't look one bit addled. In fact, it seems ready to charge toward us at any moment. Get back to the manor! What are you guys doing? What, is it invincible? Armor, now's our chance to run. My apologies, but in utilizing my plasma knuckles, my whole body has been rendered numb. Huh? Not one person here is strong enough to carry you. What? Armor moves so stiffly that I have no choice but to lend him my shoulder and run with all my might. There is no way Incompetent is strong enough to, support Armor's weight all the way back to the mansion. Stop. Stop it now. There is no way. There's no way. We can't throw away this opening our combined efforts made for us. If it weren't for Holmes, we would have died before we got this far in the first place. Scene replays in my head. In the end, I couldn't bring myself to call her Saika, even when, deep down, I truly felt it was her. And now, there's no way to confirm if Holmes really was the girl I once knew. Damn it. Damn it. As we run, I vent my anger to no one in particular, but ultimately, I'm angriest with myself. Armor Detective fought for our sake, yet all I can do is lend him my shoulder. After running for quite some time, we arrive at the manor where the others are waiting. My word! What is the meaning of this? And where's the chief? I don't see her. The remaining detectives panic as they see the black mass approaching behind us. There's no time to elaborate. I'll explain later. Quick, open the door. And why should I do the bidding of a commoner? You have any idea how prestigious and aristocratic my family is? That big black clunker's about to make mincemeat out of us. Now open the goddamn door and get inside, will ya? All right already. Cowed by Rowdy's ferocity, the group wordlessly rushes into the manor as soon as the lock clicks. Oh, it can't get in? I'm sorry. The thing, it can completely rip through flesh, but it can't knock down a door. Unless that's designed on purpose and the machine is just there to make sure they don't leave the manor. Right? So it's to keep them locked inside this mansion. Possibly. A loud banging echoes through the hall as the mass repeatedly slams itself against the door. It continues, as if goading us to come out, but the door doesn't seem to budge an inch. I shudder to think what would have happened if we hadn't made it back in time. The door, it's... No need to fret. This manor doubles as an emergency shelter for the Alliance. It may look like wood, but it's reinforced by steel. Plus, these windows are bulletproof. Not even tank shells can break through. Oh, okay, that makes more sense then. My theory is irrelevant. The banging persists for several minutes, until finally it goes quiet. But although our enemy seems to have relented, I can't relax one bit. I'm worried that monstrosity will come busting through the door at any moment. The rest of the detectives are in the same boat. No one can mask their fear after that horrific thing came chasing after us. There's only one person in a good mood. It's Renegade, isn't it? Because he's nuts. Oh me, oh my. What a predicament we're in.
What is there to make light of? Where has Holmes run off to? And what on earth was that horrid thing? I demand an explanation.
Whoa, now. Do you really need one? Our chief, ideal detective, was killed. Cut down by that black whatever it was.
Beg pardon?
Renegade's words chilled the entire room. Those of us who were with Holmes hang our heads while the others look at Renegade with incredulous faces.
Oh, pish posh. Ideal isn't simply intelligent. Her prowess in battle is unmatched. Surely this must be some clever ruse of hers. Yes, that must be it. She made us believe her to be dead, also that she can come jumping out when it suits her fancy. Oh, that woman vexes me so.
Nay, Lady Posh. I am afraid Lady Ideal was undoubtedly slain. When that metal beast attacked, I leaped forth to impede it, but its blade struck my helm, upon which I fell momentarily unconscious. Those same blades attacked Holmes too. Glad your armor saved you. Indeed, 'tis fortunate I yet breathe. However, my brief moment of weakness proved to be fatal. When I came to, I witnessed Lady Ideal being torn asunder. I rushed to her side in a trice, but it was too late. She had breathed her last. Woe, the bitter sting of regret. Had I only espied those hidden blades sooner, or awoken faster, I could have shielded her. If only I had been stronger. If only... Persis! Persis! The entrance hall reverberates with the sound of armor's gauntlets pounding against the door. No one doubts his testimony. How could we? He's far too stricken by grief for it to be a performance. All right, let's clear some things up. We walked straight into the enemy's trap and our chief was killed. Now that metallic monster is out there and we have no way of leaving. At this point, our only option is to lay low for a while and stay put in the manor. The very same place where Senior Detective's murderer, the quartering Duke, still hides. This manor, where the Duke is hiding. Everyone falls silent at Renegade's words. According to Holmes's theory, the Duke is still somewhere within the Gormenghast. What's worse, he could actually be hiding within our ranks. I'm pretty sure he is. He or she is definitely one of the detectives. For sure. It's definitely not Renegade. There's no way. Nobody says a word, but it's obvious that all of us have begun eyeing one another with distrust. If this was his plan all along, then the Duke is even more formidable than I thought. Here in this room is a closed circle of detectives, with each one suspecting the rest. We've been lured into an extraordinary dilemma, one that I have yet to see in the pages of any mystery novel. Renegade Detective's words leave the hall deathly quiet.
It's obvious what we must do.
Posh is the first to break the silence.
We must expose the Duke lurking within these walls, as Ideal Detective suggested. I'd wager he was responsible for her demise as well.
Wow, Posh. Aren't you phased at all?
And what makes you assume I'm not? I apologize for my volume. Even an aristocrat such as myself would be shocked by Ideal Detective's passing. But that only serves to emphasize my point. We need to find the culprit at once, and this group needs a chief to carry on her vision. That being said, there's none better suited than yours truly, Posh Detective. I swear to uncover the cad behind Ideal Detective's untimely end. I shall be commencing my investigation at once, so if you'll excuse me. But Posh, working alone is too dangerous. Hold on, I'll come with you.
Workaholic scurries after Posh as she strides toward the hallway by herself. I consider going after her, but stop myself. Things should be fine as long as Workaholic is with her. Well, now's as good a chance as any to take a peek at my room. Your room? Are they assigned to us? Naturally. This manor was designed to host guests from the outside world, such as us. Though it's unusual for there to be so many at once, so some of us will have to share. Incompetent, you may take room number 101, the one Ideal would have used. You'll find the keys within it. So I'll be staying in Holmes's room. I'm not sure what to think. I failed to do much of anything. Does someone like me really deserve a private room? During times of emotional distress, it is more vital than ever to eat and sleep well. Mystic speaks to me as if reading my mind. He probably is reading your mind, let's be honest. I know how it feels to lack the power to save those who are right in front of you. Helpless, you blame yourself, but what's done is done. At times like this, you must focus on repose. Only a rested mind can render proper judgment. Thank you, Mystic. Bookie, let us retire to bed ourselves. You must be tired after being up and about since early this morning. Do they share a room?
I'm fine, said the girl in a dignified manner.
Dignified, was it? Your eyes are drooping shut. That's me currently, right now, at this moment. Now then, everyone, let us reconvene tomorrow for breakfast. I shall be preparing authentic British fare for you all to enjoy. Oh, is he British too? I already gave a British accent to Workaholic. I can't give you one too. Having said his piece, Mystic takes Bookworm's hand and leads her up the staircase.
Out of curiosity, Techie, even if we use those friends of yours, we still couldn't get in touch with the outside world, correct? That's right. It's just like the research facility. I tested each of them, but none were able to establish a connection. My theory is that the Morg's communication antenna may be damaged. There are two issues we need to address before we can make external contact. First, locate the island's antenna, and secondly, fix it.
Doing either will be pretty difficult while we're locked inside this manor.
That must be why that slippery little Duke trapped us here. His plan is as nasty as a food stall that refuses to serve you.
Gourmet? I address her without thinking, surprised by the intensity so unlike her usual self.
Gourmet immediately softens her expression in response. Sorry about that, incompetent. It seems my face is a bit stiff from lack of sleep. I'm gonna soak in the tub and head to bed. Don't stay up too late, okay, everyone? We all need to work together if we hope to bring Holmes's killer to justice after all. I'm headed to my room too. I've got something I want to prepare for tomorrow. I'll show you guys in the morning. With that, Techie and Gourmet exit toward the back of the entrance hall. Downtown Rowdy, Armor, Doleful, and myself remain behind. Incompetent, I'm so sorry. What do you mean, Doleful? Doleful walks toward me and suddenly bows his head. I have no idea why he's sorry. What could have happened? What are you apologizing for? Did something happen? Oh, he probably blames himself for what happened to, Ideal. Because... Sorry, I'm yawning. Because the chief was killed as a result of my ability. That's why. If she'd been alone, she would have escaped to safety, but I insisted on coming along, and now someone is dead because of me. Again. Doleful. The boy is cowering more than usual. He did mention before that his ability drew danger to himself. Maybe that has something to do with why he's so shaken. Hello? Of course it does. He blames himself. Tell him it's not his fault and give him a hug. He needs a hug. Clearly, look at his face. He desperately needs a hug. Keep your chin up, Doleful. Huh? I don't know what happened in your past, but this wasn't your fault. In fact, you and Renegade bought us some time, remember? If you two hadn't slowed that thing down with those rocks, I know for a fact that none of us would have survived. That slight delay was what allowed Armor to catch up in time to coordinate with Rowdy and Gourmet. While I was frozen in place, Doleful and Renegade assessed the situation and immediately sprung into action. Two top-class detectives like them are more than deserving of admiration. If anyone's at fault, it's me. The one who stood there doing nothing. If I was stronger, I might have been able to protect Holmes. Nay! Utter falsehood, sir incompetent! Huh? What? Armor suddenly envelops Doleful and me in a strong embrace. 'Twas my duty to protect the chief, yet I was felled most shamefully. The fault lies with me for failing to keep her safe. Was it not you, sir incompetent, who gave such confident direction in our time of need? Confident direction? Oh, that's right. You mentioned having plasma knuckles back in the basement. They must be incredibly powerful, right? Verily, my good sir. While under duress, I had forgotten the features my armor possessed. Your reminder was a tremendous boon. No, that was just me panicking. If anything, I was counting on you to save us. How wondrous it is that you were able to direct me so swiftly. You knew even better than myself what action I should take. So that's going to lead into what we're going to do. Like what we did last time when we decided where everyone was going to go and what they were going to do. We're going to end up doing that now. We're going to take that over that job. I shall be forever in your debt. Fear not, as from here on, I vow to protect your life. Okay, that's enough, guys. Can we, put the kibosh on this pity party already? Ow. Hmm? Clearly annoyed, Downtown gives each of us a smack on the head. I know you're bummed about seeing her die and all, but real talk, what's the point in trying to take the blame? Sure, licking your wounds might make you feel better, but that's it. What we need to do is think about where to go from here.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, downtown.
Oh my god, you're apologizing again? You say sorry way too much. No more sorries around me, okay? Do it one more time and you're gonna get a tongue piercing.
I'm sorry. Oh no. No, Dolphin, stop. You can't say it. Downtown giggles as she watches me bring Dolphin to a skidding stop.
Yo, I'm heating up some grub in the dining hall. Anyone fixing to join? You never did finish eating, right? Actually, yeah. Now that you mention it, this will be a nice chance to chow down and hash out our next move. Who knows, maybe we'll come up with something good.
An excellent proposal, Lady Downtown. Without sugar, my brain lacks proper function.
What, your brain functions? Like, for real?
Oh no, she's so mean to him. How cruel, my lady. My brain is perpetually operating at full horsepower. It simply gets poor mileage. Oh no. Poor Armor. Poor baby. I feel bad for him. Like, I like their dynamic, to be honest. It's entertaining.
I'll join too then. I doubt I'll contribute much, but still.
Incompetent. As we follow Armor in downtown to the dining room, I feel doleful tug at my sleeve, stopping me midway. Thank you for cheering me up a bit ago. It'll probably still take some time to work through all of it, but I do feel a little better thanks to you. You really are quite kind, you know. Doleful. Doleful's beautiful golden eyes look directly into mine. Golden? Where's he seeing golden? I see gray. What? Excuse me, Watto. Doleful has gray eyes. What gold? Where in his eyes do you see gold? Okay. His gaze imparts a sense of heartfelt trust, one completely different from what he'd been conveying up until now. This feels like the first time since my arrival on the island that I've actually been acknowledged as a detective. Oh, Doleful's so cute. I like Doleful a lot. I'm so happy I could cry, as gosh as that sounds. Who's speaking right now? I'm quite pleased for you, Watto. It seems your efforts are paying off. Huh? I hear a familiar voice right behind me and quickly spin around, but the owner of the voice is nowhere to be seen. Was it just my imagination? Interesting. So I'm guessing that was Ideal's voice. Are they like connected somehow? There's nowhere to hide around here, so it must have been in my head. It had to be. Incompetent? Why did you turn around so suddenly? Sorry, I thought I heard something. Don't worry about it. It makes me happy to know my words could help. I'm hoping to learn all sorts of things about being a detective from you going forward. Oh, look at me, he's so cute! He's so cute, I love him. And I'd be happy to teach you, as long as you're alright with that, I mean. Of course I am, please be my best friend. I want to give you a hug. But I just ask one thing in return? Yeah, of course. Whatever you need. Odd jobs, chores, anything at all. Nothing so serious. I'd just like it if you could be a little bit more casual around me. Casual? What do you mean? Let's keep talking in the dining room. I'm sure the others feel the same way. Are we gonna get names? Is that what this is? Are we gonna get names? However, I am going to end this part here. So, yeah, I'm going to end this here. I went a little bit over what I wanted to, but I wanted to keep playing a little bit. Anyway, that was a bit crazy. We didn't solve any of the mystery at all of Senior Detective's death, and now also Ideal Detective is also dead. and Watto is hearing her voice inside of his head. So that's interesting. They're all trapped inside this manor. They have to find out who the Quartering Duke is. I'm very excited. I really do enjoy this game a lot so far, and I look forward to playing even more. Hopefully, next time I record, my voice is a bit better and I could properly do the voices of the characters that I want to do because I like to do voices for them. Hopefully, next time I will be no longer be sick. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is crazy. I really enjoy this game and I like the characters more and more as the time is going on and we get to know them more. Like there are a few I'm still meh about because we don't know much about them yet, but I really like Doleful. I like Armor. I like Downtown. And I like Rowdy a lot. I like Techie too. He's cute. You know, still need to know more about him, but I don't know what to expect as we go on. Are more people going to die? Is it like going to be victims in each chapter? Like, maybe I'm comparing it too much to Danganronpa. It is a separate game. um, so we'll find out together. I have no idea. So we're all gonna find out together. But anyway, I'm just rambling on so much. But thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.